Topics and realities. A 2 hours debate program on Royal FM.
Royal FM.
That is out to X-rail and brainstorm on issues affecting our society with the aim of bringing change. Topics and realities.
Every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m.
on Royal FM.
Topics and realities. A weekly program brought to you by the English desk of Royal FM.
Royal FM.
Topics and realities.
Topics and realities.
Topics and realities.
The gateway to change.
Since the early 1990s, there have been significant transformation in political systems in many African countries. These institutional changes have resulted in, for example, the demise of the racial-based apartheid system in the Republic of South Africa and the introduction of a non-racial democracy. Many civilians and military dictatorship has fallen, paving the way for the establishment of rule of law-based governance system characterized by constitutionalism and constitutional government, including reforms such as term limits. Nevertheless, many of these countries still struggle to deepen and institutionalize democracy and deal effectively and fully with government impunity, particularly that which is associated with the abuse of executive power and the violation of human rights. Notably, while presidents in some countries such as Kenya, Liberia, and Ghana, not forgetting Nigeria, have abided by their country's term limits, others have used legislature and submission to the president to change their constitution to allow them to stay in power beyond those terms limits, in some cases indefinitely. In addition, these and other recent institutional changes have created conditions that make it very difficult for the opposition to participate competitively in elections. Presidents have changed their country constitution to eliminate term limits. They include those of Togo, Uganda, Chad, Cameroon, Rwanda, Burundi, Egypt, now not forgetting Senegal and the Central African Republic. Changing the constitution to eliminate term or age limit for presidents and allow the incumbent president to unconstitutionally extend his mandate have been referred to as constitutional coup. It is important to note that relatively weak institutions and the absence of a democratic culture have facilitated the ability of incumbents to manipulate constitution in the country. The hope is that at the level of democratic development improve in these countries, so we should try to maintain our constitution and make it very strong. Good afternoon, good people. Welcome to Topics and Realities, your Saturday afternoon talk show program in which we capture the topics, we treat them, and we make them a reality in your life. Topics and Reality today will focus on constitutional coups in Africa. What is the political, economic, and social danger of constitutional coup? What does Africa stand to benefit, if at all, with respect and constitution and rule by the law? Our opening topic will take us to talk about the rapid spread of cholera in Cameroon. What should be done? These questions and more will be seeking answer in the course of this program. Our panels will be making up today. We are going to have political scientists, civil society activists, legal mind, economists, as well as Pan-Africanists, and you listening to us out there. You can call us and give your opinion with the mindset that it will go a long way to develop our country and why not Africa in general. Our access code this afternoon is 671-157-321, 671-157-321, 658-08-9125, 658-08-9125, or 620-377481. The program is Topics and Realities, and it is coming to you from Royal 88.4 FM. The team this afternoon is made up of Urish Kemwe. He is our sound engineer plus a copyright clerk. He is a video editor on our Facebook page, Royal FM Cameroon, our YouTube page, Royal FM Cameroon equally. Topics and Reality is a production of the English service of Royal 88.4 FM under the coordination of our Director General, Jean Pasiantala. General supervision is ensured by Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel Noy. Call me the moderator. My name is ABEL Samari. I am the son of Donkey.
Push it up.
And thank you so very much. If you are just joining us, the program is Topics and Realities, coming to you from Royal 88.4 FM. We take you to talk about the mutual assistance and solidarity MASO. And it's 1, 2, 3. MASO Act 3. What if your solution comes from the mutual assistance and solidarity? Take the rendezvous for July 9, 2023 at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex as from 2 p.m. to celebrate African solidarity. Get registered and contribute as from 100 francs CFA. Certainly, you will be the beneficiary of financing worth 250,000 francs CFA, financing worth 500,000 francs CFA, financing worth 1,250,000 francs CFA, or financing worth 1 million francs CFA. These, according to your choice and to permit you live a fulfilled life. At MASO, we simply live our African values. And with just 29 days to the July raffle draw ceremony that will take place at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex, 19 days to the end of registration and contribution into the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO, you still have an opportunity to become a member of the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO and stand a chance to benefit from all the advantages of becoming a member of this platform, which is aimed at accompanying government fight against poverty and remove man from the shackle of poverty. The Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO is also putting at the disposal of mutualists the opportunity for them to have income generating activities through the provision of a lot of finances of their different projects, that is financing of projects that will give them activities for them to generate income. And the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity is also looking at the opportunity for mutualists to be able to have these finances through MASO Classics, where the offers are refundable without any interest. And we equally have this year 250 slots for mutualists. That is 250 mutualists will stand the opportunity to benefit 250,000 francs CFA. 200 mutualists will stand the opportunity to have 500,000 francs CFA. Another 200 will stand the opportunity for them to have 750,000 francs CFA. And this money through MASO Classics, where the offers are refundable without interest, will give them the opportunity for them to have income generating activities. And if you are a mutualist, now that we are 19 days to the end of closure, and we are talking about the 49 week of contribution. At this 49 week, where if you are contributing 100 francs daily, for you to have 26,000 francs by June the 29, 2023. At this point, you can have the opportunity to have 24,500 francs, but you still have the opportunity as a mutualist to register and pay all the 26,000 francs and become a member of the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity, where you stand to benefit all the advantages of the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity. To be the lucky winner of just registering into MASO from 100 francs to enable you participate in the July 9 raffle draw ceremony organized by Renapo Finance SC, which is accompanying the government to remove man from the shackle of poverty. On the other hand, MASO is proposing another option, that is MASO Gold, where the contribution this in MASO Gold also varies. And this year we are going to have mutualists that will be able to have finances from 1 million francs CFA up to 50 million of francs CFA. And this contribution, we have 200 francs for those to benefit from the 1 million francs CFA, so that they have 52,000 francs CFA by June the 29, 2023. Those for the 2 million, they have the contribution is 250 francs daily to have 65,000 francs by the end of June or the 29. 5 million, you have 78,000 francs CFA by the end of June the 29, where the contribution stands at 300 francs CFA. For 10 million francs CFA, the contribution is 91,000 francs CFA by June the 29, 2023, where the contribution is 350 francs CFA. 20 million, we have for 104,000 francs CFA, where the contribution daily is 400 francs CFA. So we have 50 million, where the contribution is 130,000 francs CFA, where the 500 francs daily contribution is required. And you can register into the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity. The registration booklet for MASO Gold stands at 1,000 francs CFA, while that of MASO Class is just 500 francs CFA. This book will permit you to record all your finances. We have 29 days to the raffle draw ceremony, 19 days to the end of contribution and registration. Within 19 days, you can become that lucky person to remove yourself, or with the help of the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity, to remove you from the shackle of poverty. It should be noted that our agents are out there. You can call any of our agents, and there will be the opportunity for them to meet you wherever you are, for you to be able to register into the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO. At different contacts, we have 690-204840, that we usually have 699-442977, 699-442977, 674-392746, 674-392746, 695 339503. With the MASO, we simply live our African values, and MASO is out to help fight against poverty. So becoming a member of the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity gives you the opportunity for you to benefit natural advantages like that of a 35% health discount that you get from treating 10 members, any 10 members of your family in any of you go to the hospital complex like Mamu, you have that opportunity. And for those who are having difficulties in registering into the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO, there is a hotline. There is a hotline which the number is 693-930231. 693-930231. In all difficulties as you carry out your transaction to the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity, call the number. Somebody will answer you and your problem will be solved. For those who have already contributed their 26,000 francs to MASO Gold, or the different amount into MASO Gold and the 26,000 francs into MASO Classic, now we are talking about the pre-identification process which is ongoing. Just go to any of the 3 polls selected by the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity. We have first the Vinapo Finance SA head office situated at the Ligefa. You go there, you carry out this pre-identification process, or you go to the MASO Polo head office which is situated in Kwabang, Kwabang, just a few meters before the Green Oil petrol station. You can also carry out this pre-identification process, or you come to the radio house here at Royal FM. If you want to register or carry out this pre-identification process, just come to the radio house, and you also got the opportunity to carry out this pre-identification process. And to equally tell you that when coming along, just come with 2 passport size photograph of yours, a photocopy of your identification document, and you equally have a photocopy of your booklet, 10 names of members of your family to benefit from the health advantages, and this process will be carried out. Remember that the Mutual Assistance and Solidarity MASO is built on the African spirit of solidarity, and for that, at the end of the day, together we have a fulfilled life full of happiness. At MASO, we simply live our African values. I will come back to the studio where we are going to be discussing some main topic, the issue of a constitutional coup d'etat we witness in Africa. What is the danger in the political, economic, and social life of Africans? What does Africans start to benefit from the respect of constitution? That is what we are going to be discussing in the program. But before then, let me welcome Mr. John Niba, who is here with me despite the rain. He has already briefed the odds to be here with me this afternoon. Thank you so very much. Good afternoon to you. It has been a while.
Yeah, ABEL Samari, good afternoon. Yeah, it has been a while. It was not easy arriving here today. Normally, if you don't have the masses at heart,
yeah,
and then if you are not also a man of your words,
yeah,
you will not pass under the type of rain ABEL I used to arrive here. Thank God I'm here. I want to greet all the listeners of Topics and Realities, and the number one listener, the Reverend Pastor Emmanuel Nwebisai.
Okay. On his behalf, I receive it. You both just finished the first school. Everything is fine. A successful academic year. We can put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm talking because you are also a teacher. You are a pedagogue, even though you are a civil society activist. Huh?
Yeah, I'm a pedagogue. I like to go by that. We are just whistleblowers in the local scene. Normally, we think that we have the natural, duty conferred on us by the Constitution of Cameroon and equally by the head of state himself, who said nobody needs to put a veil before expressing yourself, to come and tell government exactly what we are feeling, and to also tell the masses what we think they can do. So we have that civil responsibility, and I would rather prefer to be a pedagogue. That's what I enjoy most. As a teacher in the basic education sector, the sector that is the most neglected in Cameroon.
Can you see that?
Yeah, very much neglected, ABEL.
Well, we see a lot of reforms that has been
we have pedagogic reforms, but I doubt whether there are some financial and administrative reforms accompanying that. So we just wrote the first school living certificate that was done on Tuesday sit, and when it's the 7th of this month, and now marking as concerns the Anglophone, I think it is the same thing in the central region, will begin on Monday because the marking has not yet started. Yesterday was Friday, and there was a preparatory meeting towards that marking. So marking begins on next Monday 12 at the normal marking center there in Bastos. So we are now resting.
It's no longer central school, it's now Bastos?
Yeah, the central school was changed some years back when there was a lot of anger in the air, and it was discovered that the central school is not fenced. And so, teachers can be angry and they behave like teachers, but since the locality was not fenced, any other person can now infiltrate and do whatever thing. So it was moved now to Bastos. Since about I don't know how many years today we have been marking in Bastos.
Okay, but I'm doing, I know it's not you, but I just inform you I'm doing an investigation because I got complaints for some teachers. I want to find out that there is a problem when it comes to the invigilation fee, the money disbursed by the government. Some individuals are sitting on it. They're not doing what they're supposed to do, especially in Yaoundé 4. So let's take this publicity page.
Royal FM 88.4.
I say, get me the hot for your side. No worry, Momo Cash Day for you. Borrow up to 100,000 francs with Momo Cash and pay back with no fees in 3 days maximum. Dial *126#, then select option 6. What are we doing today?
Yeah, thank you so very much, Irish Kimwe. Now we'll come back to the studio. That was just an introduction, and with you, I want us to take a press review. And when we come back, we are going to comment on a few issues before we move. We still have indication that others will join us. It's just the rain, and some are already not too far from the radio house. They will join us and we'll continue. But before then, let's welcome Christian Mando, who did us a wonderful job this week, collected the papers, and let's come back to her. And after that, we comment. Good afternoon to you, Christian Mando.
Good afternoon, ABEL Samari. Greetings to the guests in the studio and to all the listeners of Topics and Realities. We open our press review this Saturday 10th with the newspaper The Horizon that talked about ending conflicts in the Northwest and Southwest region in its Thursday edition, having as headline, Preventing Potential Preparators Proposed. In more news in this newspaper, we have the announcement of the short-term mining project that the Minmit boss does swing into action. This newspaper also answered the question if the head of state, Paul Biya, has adjusted the state budget to avert another fuel price increase. This was in page 8. During this week, the newspaper The Guardian Post in an editorial came back on xenophobia, condemning what they promote. This newspaper came back on the UNs that reassured the government of support in implementation. The newspaper of Cham Victor Bana Municipal Updates yesterday Friday tweeted the information of the June session that opened, as it had as headline, Cavalier strike amber fighters, Nyat condemns threats to unity. Article that could be read in page 3. We talk education to say that the Minister of Secondary Education, Nalova Lyonga, announced the putting in place of an electronic address to fight against absenteeism. This was tweeted in the newspaper Le Jour, as it had as headline to this topic, Absentéisme des enseignants, parlons-en. The newspaper of Aman Manda also talked of the succession of the Social Democratic Front, as it had at the footer of its front page, La succession du chairman se prépare. Another newspaper that came back on the communique on the fight against absenteeism signed by the Minister of Secondary Education, Nalova Lyonga, is the Guardian Post newspaper, having on the tummy of its first page, Pandit grips teachers as Minister Nalova goes tough on absenteeism. This newspaper also treated a consultation meeting in Congo where Prof. Callistus announces start of Mbalam Nabeba iron ore project in August. This article could be read on page 5. We close this press review with a reported newspaper that treated the information on the 2023 SDF National Elective Convention, where the party is cleared for OC to succeed Frunji at the head of the party. This is what we got for you in our press review today. Have a nice day and stay blessed.
And we come back in the studio, Mr. John Niba. You got, before we welcome Wumi, let him catch his breath, and I remove the last drop of the ring on his head. You listen to the papers. What caught your attention? Let me start from you.
Yeah, the Speaker of the House of Assembly and the President of the Senate condemning hate speech and the adoption of women in the Northwest. It caught my attention because condemnation has become, it seems as if condemnation is the only thing that those in decisions making position in Cameroon can do. For example, I would like to cite you some cases of condemnations.
Okay.
Some students were adopted, I think, in 2017 in one secondary school in Kwen in the Northwest. There was condemnation. Regina Mundi, the senator, was kidnapped. There was condemnation. Barrister Kemende was shot dead. There was condemnation. Nijon Frundi was kidnapped. Condemnation. Cardinal Tumi taken away. Condemnation.
So in other words, are you saying that the condemnation is just they are just singing song, not impact?
It seems as if they are very much delighted in counting the number of condemnations.
Okay, that is why you want to help them.
Without
counting.
If that is the record they want, so that they will be remembered as the highest people who ever condemned without doing any concrete action to stop the war in the Northwest. Because it seems as if that house, that's the National Assembly, those two houses, the lower and upper houses, the highest they can do is to condemn.
But what do you expect them to do?
And they do selective condemnation. I expected him to equally condemn, or them to condemn what happened in the South region. But
they do talk about hate speech.
Of course.
They do talk about hate speech that the government will show no mercy.
We expected him to talk on the rostrum of the National Assembly on that. What you say on social media or what you say somewhere does not really have the weight. The weight is okay in that house. We expected him to do condemnation for this panelist who after taking part in a TV debate was kidnapped by people suspected to be coming from the state security.
Maybe he says anything.
And so even if he did, you see that Cameroon is
the media is not a platform where we come and share our vendetta.
You see that Cameroon is moving from one scandal. I'm not saying that you should talk on the media. I'm talking about Nyat Njifenji Marcel and Kaweyege Jibril. that if
condemning
he
some
was
certain
out
actions in
to
the country.
condemn, he should not do selective condemnation. And then he himself, they should be able to see that the condemnations are too much. You remember, the eldest member of parliament in the March session said Cameroon has become a country where you move from scandal to scandal. And this is another scandal. He was even, that's Cavaye was even alarmed that the cholera outbreak is affecting towns, and he was pointing accusing fingers maybe to the Ministry of Health, of which that young minister just came in and met him, who has been there since 1992 as speaker, and the minister is just suffering from wrong decisions.
So Cavaye should not school the minister. Schooling, he's the representative of the people.
Yes.
And when he's calling the minister, he has the right to do that.
Schooling,
so you can't compare the two of them.
Schooling the minister, he should also look in that house whether which decisions had been taken in the past, and whether this cholera outbreak now cannot just be a repercussion of decisions, wrong decisions that had been taken in his presence since 1992 in the house. So you cannot blame the minister now, because that minister was maybe in primary school and Cavaye was already piloting the affairs of this country in the house.
You have a problem with Cavaye staying.
He should also blame himself. He should blame himself for that, because he cannot be blaming the minister as if he just came from somewhere else. He cannot be shocked as if he did not know that decisions stemming from town planning, stemming from government decisions, bad governance and order will lead to cholera and a very high cost of living that we are living in today. Okay. And even the war in the northwest and southwest, he cannot say that he was not seeing it since 1992 that he was speaker. And when I say 1992, take note that he was first of all there like a simple parliamentarian before becoming a speaker in 1992. Yeah. So he has been in that house for close to 50 years.
That has nothing to do. I don't think that is really the bone of contention. It's not the president of Cavaye.
What we expect the National Assembly, without pulling on them, what stopped them from creating a commission of inquiries to go and do inquiries and assign blame? Let some people guilty of hate speech be called down to book. We have seen this government promote people who are authors of some dangerous phrases like Kam No Go. You know, the greatest author of Kam No Go today is somebody somewhere. I don't want to call his name, but we were waiting for sanctions to follow these people so that others can learn a lesson from there.
What you should caught your attention?
Yes, I heard a paper talking about proposals to end the war in the northwest and southwest, or the conflict. Let me use the terminology that will please the government. The conflict in the northwest and southwest, and these are proposals that were made by a certain organ or agency of a certain organ of the United Nations organization, proposing a whole lot of things, talking about sanctions, economic sanctions, arm embargoes, and all that. I think we don't need to arrive that particular place. We don't need to arrive such proposals, but I also want to draw the attention of those making decisions that when the UN is like that, that is diplomacy, they start functioning like that. Now, since people were dying in those two regions, we have not heard a report coming out like this or proposals being made like that. And if the UN has now started proposing things like economic sanctions, arm embargo on Cameroon, freezing of some people's accounts, bans on maybe travels and all that. Yes, they are just mere proposals today, but we don't know what they will be transformed to tomorrow.
Everything that has a start has an end.
And what we are living now,
embargoes are coming to put an end to the Anglophone crisis. Good.
And what we are living now in Cameroon, with the high cost of living, where feeding in Cameroon has become a luxury. One newspaper wrote that, I think, last week. We don't think that if we were to suffer economic sanctions again,
why?
It means that the poor masses will die.
No, the economic sanction is coming to sanction those who are ringleaders in the Anglophone crisis.
They are talking about economic sanctions.
And if they are coming to do that, then we need to encourage them, because Everything that has a start.
We will not encourage them because I continue to believe
this is
that with sincerity.
This is the time if the UN is taking its responsibility towards the Anglophone crisis. We should appreciate that. Is that all you got from the paper?
Well, I will not appreciate that because I want to say
personal
that
opinion.
There are many initiatives without passing through. The Cameroonians can still agree without passing through those sanctions coming from the United Nations. The United Nations, which carries 90% of the blame for causing the war in the north and southwest, following the history that all of us learned in school. Now, the last thing that caught my attention is the chairman of the SDF party, who is like finally leaving the stage.
Who is like?
Yeah.
Who is like?
I don't know.
He's leaving the stage. It's not like who is like.
I don't know why leaving is a process. Leaving is supposed to be a simple action.
But that's what he's doing.
Yeah, has he left?
He's not going in as chairman of the convention.
That's why I'm saying that he is leaving the state. Like leaving.
Why you say like it seems as if he's holding the string, he's thinking, but he has made it clear in the next
I know
meeting.
you to be a brilliant history student. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Ahijo loved the stage. Right?
Yep.
But Ahijo continued to control the one party that ruled the CNU party. When we say Frundi is like leaving, you did history, I did history. You can leave in front of the cameras. The journalists can write that you have left, but at the end, we actually want to see you.
So are you
leave.
telling us that what he said is just a camouflage?
I've not said that.
It's just a fairy tale. Nijon will not leave. Is that what you are trying to tell us?
The thing is that whether Nijon leaves now or not, I think he has left nothing behind.
How can you say
for
that?
now. Because
the SDF is being noted in Cameroon as one of the strongest political party. And you cannot just come and say that he has done nothing.
If you could talk alone,
no,
don't invite us.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Because if you keep on cutting me, I will come and make allegations that I cannot justify and they will be heard against me.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that SDF that used to make people panic at the mention of the name
SDF.
That SDF has been, the substance has been removed.
Okay.
It is just like an orange that was sucked and now the chaps is being thrown away. The best thing Frundi can do is just to leave the SDF. And I will advise the other people to leave and create maybe other political parties that will have a meaning. There was a time we started ringing a bell that the SDF deviated from the very foundation of from the very socialist ideas. It seems as if at one moment those leading that party recognized that it was so difficult to topple the ruling party and they decided to fight for their stomach. And you can see their jaws when they sit at the National Assembly and other places. Look at the sizes of their stomachs today. It is true that when you are working, you need to eat. But now when you are eating and the people you are working for are dying, your conscience should be able to judge you.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Niba.
Thank you. I may come back for other details. So that is the next thing that caught my attention.
Thank you so very much. We already see what caught your attention. I think I will now welcome Wimui Betan. He's a teacher. Wimui Betan is a teacher. He's a historian. But he's a member of the SDF party. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to John Limba.
Yeah, thank you, sir. You're welcome.
To the newest co-panel who just entered. So I'll not give his name because you're supposed to do that. I want to extend my regards to those who are listening to us because we are just an instrument to their hands.
Okay.
Yeah, we are here because they are there. And I hope that we are going to be up to the task.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go straight to what caught my attention.
Yes, rapidly, what caught your attention? Because I was about to ask you a question.
Yeah, the first thing is about the hate speech stuff. And I believe that in Cameroon, we like using words. You see, we just, because maybe we must have borrowed the word hate, because hate speech, the word hate speech is not coming from Cameroon.
Okay.
You see, something we just borrowed, some concepts that we just borrowed from somewhere. And you see, the highest people who fuel hate speech in this country are those who are governing us. It is clear. About a year or so, there was an incident just recently in San Melima, where shops were ransacked, destroyed, people's things were carried and placed in homes. That is, you come to somebody's shop because it's not of your tribe. I don't want to call names of the tribes. You come and you break into his shop, you carry the things and keep in your houses. The policemen, the gendarmes, they know those things. The sous-prefect or divisional officer and senior divisional, they know it. but nothing is done simply because they have an acquaintance, they have a link with the head of state. They speak the same dialect with the head of state. Now, about some days ago, the same incident happened of somebody who comes from a particular ethnic group who had a problem with somebody, and it becomes something of an ethnic group against an ethnic group. So you see that, and the government did nothing, because that's the worst.
You cannot say the government did nothing.
Did
there were
nothing.
Series of meetings.
Okay, the
elites go down and talk to the population.
What next?
And
I'm afraid to say,
the National Assembly is coming in to put an end to this.
And I'm afraid to say, and so what if they had meeting 2 years ago? They had meetings. Today they're having meeting. Tomorrow we're going to have meeting. I had the bilingualism and multiculturalism commission went down to Sangmelima. To do what? You know, people who have committed crimes, and you're unable to bring them to justice simply because they have an acquaintance, they have a certain link with those who are governing this country. Let me tell you, my brother, you see, some people think that because their brothers are in a world-place area there the government have a good post, and you know they are general, they think that they can do anything to people. No. But what I'm saying is that their hate speech, because they are the one following hate speech, their hate speech will only end in terms of their talking. Because let me tell you, those who are being pointed at as being les envahisseurs, the Kamnogos, you see, there will be a time that they too will be able to mobilize themselves and try to defend themselves against all this hate speech, against all these attacks. Because you will not see. I saw on Facebook somebody who was like crying that he had an accident. He wants to sell a whole village because he has hectares upon hectares of land. He wants to sell them. Then when somebody will try and mobilize his phone, get there and get to a piece of land, 10 years after they will come and say, "Il avait trompé notre père." You see what is happening? And this issue of Sunday, you should go back to your account, to your villages. Somebody will leave, a 17-year boy will leave his village, comes to Yaoundé or Douala, try to mobilize funds and try to get a piece of land somewhere. After some few years, they start asking him to leave to go to his village. And those who are doing that are doing on radio and television sets. And nobody is there to tell them to stop.
Maybe the people on the other side who doesn't know how to talk to these people. How can you explain the fact that your father bought a piece of land in those days when the values of money is not like today? Maybe 10,000 francs.
With everything being equal.
With 10,000 francs?
Yes.
And you come and see today, you see the grandchildren of the person who offer. That time they were giving land for free.
No.
You know those things. So. Our forefathers have taken land for free.
My brother, let me say something. The problem is... Let me say something.
That is a debate for another.
Let me say something.
Yes,
there is a problem. There is a problem in this country.
On that.
See, the government is supposed to bring out a total... in fact, a land policy, a land tenure policy in this country.
And the government is working on that.
The problem is not the individuals. You cannot see somebody who was selling his granite and he manages to buy a piece of land somewhere, and you come out of a sudden and tell him that he should go back to his country or to his village.
The problem can still be the individual, because at one moment they buy land without following the normal procedure.
Of course, we are not disputing that fact. But you know that there's a law too. What they call I think la mise en valeur. Right?
Let me tell you something.
The first person who makes a land useful, you cannot come and just
we understand
land
those
as
things.
easily as you think.
But it has also been proven that some of us sometimes we look at those who welcome us, the words that we also throw back to them.
Abel.
You understand? Provoke those statements.
Let me tell something concerning the land Mr. Woman is talking about. Yeah. When you have a land title, the government knows only you. What you then do as Muslim is black business between you and the person who is buying from you.
Yeah.
It means that if there is any problem, the government knows you. Who has that land title? The person who came and cut from you. The government does not know you.
No, I'm not even at that.
And you don't expect the government to come and start defending something the government does not do business with.
That's a different problem. Even those who have bought their land under normal circumstances, they are also told to go back to their
Thank you very much.
Have they gone back?
Attention again, because I have a question I want to ask you.
Have they gone back?
No, that's what I'm saying.
There's a question I want to ask you.
I'm saying that it should end at the level of the speech, because whenever they will take up something, to force them out, they are going to defend themselves. Now the next I want to talk about.
Yes.
The next one to talk.
Because I have a question.
I don't want to go to the SDF because
no, me I have a question concerning the SDF for you.
The next one
because an opportunity for me to have.
Just very fast.
Yes. Right. How is the preparation of the convention going? Will it still be in the month of July?
It is in the month of July, except that something falls from the sky.
Okay, now that Niger will be stepping down, what position will we be holding? A floor member or there is another?
No.
What does the constitution of the SDF party
the first thing yes. I love to identify myself first and foremost. I've been saying this.
Yes.
That I love to be a grassroots militant.
Okay.
I see myself more useful at the grassroots. Then if I like my comrade that died, Awudumbaya. He always see himself
honorable.
Honorable. He always saw himself as a grassroots, and that's why you see that he was actually very
loved.
Even though he left from grassroots, he did not actually leave from grassroots. You see, why being at the grassroots, he got to where he was. So I believe that even at the grassroots, you can emerge as easily as possible.
So Niger is going back to the grassroots.
But he's saying that some people went up without passing to the grassroots. Who are they?
No. See, I don't want to.
I'm the one asking question here.
Oh, sorry, sir.
I'm the one asking question, Mr.
I don't want to mention.
Yes,
names, you see. So
let's come back.
If there's anybody, I don't know. I don't know if anybody.
Let me come to the SDF.
Yes.
I'm with the chairman. He's living as a chairman. Which position will you be holding now in the SDF? A grassroots militant?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, that's the question I'm asking.
Okay.
As per the rules and regulations of the SDF.
It is clear.
Yeah,
I have done the number of years that in fact that permits me even to be the chairman if I wish to be. Right?
Okay.
Yes, if I wish to be. But for now, I have not decided on anything.
I'm talking about Nijon Fundi. He's
okay.
stepping down.
No.
Will he still be?
No.
He will not be a member of the NEC, or he's going back as a grassroots militant. Or people will create another position for him to occupy. That's what I want to find out.
For now, until the convention decide, right? Until the convention decide, because the convention has primacy on everybody.
Okay.
You see, until the convention decide that this is what we are reserving for him.
Okay.
Until the because I'm not the convention. You see, the convention decide. But all is
know
clear.
that you are not the convention.
And we know that he is going to step down. And we are calling on all those leaders. It's like we are advising the other leaders who created our parties in the early 90s.
No, we should not go there. We should follow
the good example.
Yes, somebody says that.
We have heard that the constitution of the CPDM never even dreamed that the chairman was going to step down. That's why they don't know which post he will hold. They are waiting for a convention. They have never dreamed that the chairperson will step down one day. That is why people are waiting for the convention to know what he will become next.
A member of the military.
The question is this:
this is not an SDF forum.
He is asking whether he will be something. I said, but I cannot say anything.
Okay. But the constitution was supposed to have told you things.
No. See, I cannot say anything.
Gentlemen, we are not talking about the SDF.
Why? If everything remains the way they are,
yes,
with everything being equal,
yes,
he is stepping down as a chairman, a normal floor member. Right? That is it. But now, a convention can decide anything.
Okay. You see what I mean by the seemingly stepping down of the.
Okay.
No, you didn't.
Good afternoon to you, Jones Viban.
Good afternoon, Abel.
It has been a while.
Oh yeah, it's actually been a while.
Somebody said, "Thank God it is holiday." You cannot have the teachers to come and share their points of view.
It's really not been easy. I want to extend my regards to all my fellow panelists.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we are all pedagogues. I'm very grateful meeting my very old-time colleague and elder brother, Mr. Umi and Mr. Joniba.
Yeah.
In quite a very long time.
The pleasure is mine too.
There is something that I kept that the day you come to this platform, you'll be in a better place to explain to the public.
Okay.
The incident at Babanki.
Oh.
I don't know whether it's a small one or it's a big one. I just want to use the word Babanki.
Okay.
It gone to the extent where at the National Assembly, Honorable Kavaye Gejibwe says such acts should be condemned in our society. And I read that the fund of Babanki wants to go to the village. The so-called people says that he has been dethroned. Is that how they dethrone train in your culture? I'm talking to you as an elite. Or permit me, I move the word elite. As a son of that land,
Babanki.
What is happening with Babanki these days?
Okay, this all started when
even though I take you by surprise, the Babangi people should not hold you responsible because I know you are not their spokesperson. But now that we have an opportunity and be an educated person that you are, maybe you give us an insight.
Good. I'll try my best to make sure we don't fall prey of anybody's trap, because you know, in a country where you turn to the left, you are trapped, to the right, and you are trapped as well. So this all started when the boys down there decided to levy some sort of taxes on our parents back there. In fact, on every Babankian, me use that word. You are a child. You have a child going to school. You're paying 500 francs as tax every month. You are a woman, you're paying 5,000. As a father, you're paying 10,000. Then those of us who are outside,
they call you for the diaspora.
Diaspora supposed to sending 25,000 francs every month to the village, and then you as the owner of a house.
Have you been doing that?
No.
Meaning that if you go there now, you are a non grata.
So all this came up, and with the help of the phone, or probably the Takumbungs. We all here are from Northwest, and they really understand what Takumbungs are. Our moms, these are the same people. The government, when the government sees them, the government itself starts afraid. So they came out to protest, and they were like, we are not very comfortable with these things. You don't levy us as if we are we actually end.
We're in the village.
We all are struggling to live, and then you want to, you know, instead of listening to what they are saying, they got them beaten, shot some, beat them up.
Is that not a taboo?
I'm telling you, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. Whoever was advising those boys, I don't know where the advice is coming from. So with the help of the phone and other elites,
we also got some information that some people now are using. Some people, you know, in the traditional setup, the fight of the throne, and the people who are fighting the throne are also being the technical advisor.
Well, I wouldn't go to that because I don't have clear facts to really explain
I saw someone.
That aspect.
I was reading.
Of course.
That's why the Babanki people.
All of us have been reading. All of us have been reading, and we shouldn't say.
Village where a phone was killed some years ago.
No, it was not killed. It was roasted. I'm saying that this one is even lucky that they are saying that he has been dethroned. The other one was transformed into soya. So it is still in line. It is still the deed of that act. That is trying to somewhere. Well, like I said, I don't have proofs. I cannot say something that I don't know about. But we've all been reading, and we all heard or saw somewhere something like that. So, but I want to really thank the phone, His Royal Highness von Vutibong Benjamin, who still remain the phone of Kijom Keku. We put him there, and 2-3 boys will not sit in the bush and say he's no longer the phone.
You're not talking like an elite.
So he is still the phone of Kijom Keku.
There's no dethronement. That's just a verbal stuff.
Yeah, it's just a verbal stuff, and there's nothing. The Kijom Keku people, when I talk about the people, I mean 100%. Not those boys that are just about 4 or 5 of them, you know. So whatever they say,
4 or 5 people cannot just squeeze them away.
You know, there is part of that. Like I said, you turn to the left, you are trapped. To the right, you are trapped. So you don't want to take the law in our hands. The government is there. The speaker is there who has to. All he can say is condemning. You know, condemning has now been the watchword of everybody.
I myself, I condemn it also.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what all of us will do. At the end of the day, we will all say we are condemned.
I condemn the fact that some phones desert their palaces. And they go and stay outside. And they are now the diaspora of their palaces. Even if the phone was not dethroned, I don't think whether he's not also guilty.
No, excuse me. Our phone from Vutibong Benjamin works with the United Nations in charge of food and water. So he works here in Yaoundé. He has been here from before.
The last time he was in the village was when?
No,
the last time he was in the village was 2 weeks. He has been in the village.
But with that,
he has been in the village for a very long time. His son died, and we went and buried in the village.
But even they do go to the village
all the time.
On that.
He's been there in the village.
He's somebody that I know so well.
Yes.
And even though on this crisis of beating the Takumbe, the two of us have not talked.
Yeah.
But he lives here in Yaoundé, working in Yaoundé, and phones that work in Yaoundé, it does that is not a dissented form.
What about Fonchafa?
Thank you. It's okay.
He works in Yaoundé. He's a senator.
A senator means that he must stay.
He works in Yaoundé.
His office is in Yaoundé.
And the laws of the National Assembly says that if you have a post of let us not say things because we want to. Let us educate the people.
Of course.
The laws of the National Assembly. Let me come. The laws of the National Assembly do state if you are a parliamentarian or a senator that hold a post of responsibility, you need to resident in Yaoundé. If the speaker wants to, go and find out. It's one of the questions in the National Assembly.
We have a chief in the southwest who is working with his people. That's Moja Moja.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, but he's a military man, and maybe that's why he has been posted.
He works with his people. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but maybe that's why he has been posted.
So let's not go there. That's not our topic. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let us move to our topic of discussion this afternoon. Thank you, people, for breathing the rain and be with us this afternoon. We take this little break, and when we come back, we'll take you to our main topic. I want us to talk about what is happening in the African continent and what we can also learn back. They say where your brother's or your sister's house is on fire, it gives you an attention to also look the quality of material that you have in yours. And I'm talking about constitutional coup d'etat that we are witnessing in Africa. The case of Senegal is primordial. We saw one-time opposition leader who had the mandate of the opposition coalition. He became president. He removed the term of office from 7 years to 5 years. He even promised his people that he will never tamper with the constitution because he wants to build a very strong Senegal. And today, he is the one struggling to change the constitution, even though he brought it from 7 to 5 years. I wants to run again. I'm talking about Macky Sall. And that has created a kind of chaos. A lot of people have died in their hundreds out there in Senegal. We also have next door the Central African Republic. Those are recent cases where we have Tudora, who is a president that is seen as one of the most aspiring in the Central African sub-region after his trade deal or diplomatic relations with Russia. He is able to maintain the Central African Republic to a point where for over 5 years today, nobody has had gunshot in that part of Africa. And a lot of people have been applauding him for his effort. He too says that he wants to carry out a referendum. He has already discussed with the president of the Constitutional Council in Central African Republic, the president of the National Assembly, want to carry out another referendum so that he will permit him to be to run again as president in Central African Republic. We also saw other countries in Africa that has gone through that same pipeline. I take the case of Togo, where the constitution was changed by Gasibe. I also saw the case of Uganda, where Museveni also had to change the constitution to remove his age band limit. We also saw the case of Chad, where Deby also changed the constitution. We saw the case of Cameroon, where the constitution was changed. We saw the case of Rwanda, where Kagame changed it. We saw the case of Burundi, where late Nkurunziza changed the constitution. We saw Egypt, where El-Sisi changed the constitution. It seems as if Africa, the new Africa that was built on democracy through the rule of law, is losing in grounds, and we are fast having African leaders who are now authoritarian and wants to stay forever. John Niba.
Yeah, I think the problem is the first idea behind democracy when the African leaders received this notion of democracy. They had most of the African countries were not yet ripe to adopt the Western type of democracy.
We're not ripe?
Yes, they were not yet ripe. And I'm saying that justifying with the way they are saying a different thing today and tomorrow, you see they come back to change it. It means that they were not right. They just came in maybe because there were certain conditions that if you don't fulfill, you may not have a certain loan, you may not have that, you may not have this. So, or because of certain conventions that they even signed without understanding the content very well. And today now, when they have come to that particular point of applying it, it becomes a problem. You know that in Africa, every president is, like in the case of Cameroon, another president probably is the fond of funds. You know that title? He's a fond of funds. He was actually made the fond of funds.
Lamidos of Lamidos.
And a fund does not leave power. A fund dies, disappears. Excuse me for that. A fund disappears, and another one comes in.
Succession.
So with the idea that African presidents are chiefs or funds, that your idea of democracy that is coming from the Western world really has a lot of difficulty to root itself in Africa. Let me say that you have cited a good number of countries where we have constitutional coup d'etats, and you're right. But I want to say that, do you know that our next door neighbor, Nigeria, one president attempted it, and there was a fight in the assembly. People actually fought, and it never passed. It means that, like they say, it is the potato that's permitted that they should be eating it raw. Those who have ears should hear what I'm saying. Those countries that you have cited where it has succeeded, those people wanted it to succeed. Why did it not succeed in Nigeria? I said it was a fight, and Mr. Ume said Obasanjo, and it's true. And during that period, it succeeded in Cameroon, and it failed in Nigeria, because the people representatives stood up and said, no, this constitution must be like this. I think we have people who sit in those houses of representation to do business, personal business for personal gains. Yes, they go up in order to have favors, in order to position their family members, in order to win contracts, and still come and defend them in front of whatever thing. Still questions the minister that gives you contract. Yes. But the thing they went there to do is exactly what they are not doing. If these countries you have cited were serious, it would have the scheme would have failed like it failed in Nigeria. And today, Nigeria is being used everywhere like a very big example of democracy in Africa. So I can say that the representatives betray those who send them there. You say that the president of Central African Republic has spoken with whether is the president of National Assembly and Constitutional. But let me tell you that the one who is there now is a stooge. There was a woman, I've just forgotten the name.
Panza.
When the president brought that idea, the matter was taken to court, and the Supreme Court, I think she was a Supreme Court judge, something like that, the decision came out that it is well spelled out that the constitution of that country should not be touched. What happened?
I think she was sacked.
She was sacked.
Yeah.
And now you are saying that they have consulted somebody. Who is that person? That is a stooge who was put there for his personal gains. We only have our eyes to cry, and we only have the masses to bring back this power monger, these people who that power has entered their head, to reason. After that, they will come and blame us of hate speech. They will blame us of violence, not knowing that it is serious one. Let us look at the case of Chad before I learn. According to the constitution of Chad, nothing is written there that if a president dies, it should be the son of that president who should become a president. But all of us saw that when President David died, the son came without respecting the constitution. That's another constitutional coup d'etat. And he was congratulated by the president of France and seconded by the best student of Mitterrand.
Bia was even the first to congratulate him. He was only endorsing the first before France.
So when you congratulate such things, and at the same time you want to condemn Mali and condemn Burkina Faso, who have people who have come to power without respecting the constitution, what type of democracy are we talking about? Let us also say that the Western world, those who brought this lesson of democracy, are also responsible for the chaos that we find ourselves inside today.
They are the most responsible.
Wumi, is it very difficult for Africa to live by the rules?
Of course, we are just
why the frequent change in constitution?
We are just a group of greedy people. Okay. Sometimes you want to give the benefit of doubt to some people. Let's just take an example of Senegal. They had their first president, their pioneer president, Leopold Sédar Senghor, who ruled, even though he had a lot of tension with how do you call the lawyer? The one with the president. What? He had a lot of tension. What was his
immediate rival?
Mm-hmm. Okay, but later on he left constitutionally, and Abdou Diouf came in. Abdou Diouf and what he was always, there was always this type of fighting and all. But later on, Abdou Diouf himself,
and a constitutional elected fight.
Yeah, of course, Abdou Diouf left. They have been building their democracy for quite a long time, and out of a sudden, somebody who has fought with Abdoulaye Wade, and people came up and supported him, gave him, gave him total support, and he's now at the helm of the nation. He wants to destroy even the young Sanko. He wants to destroy, bringing flimsy excuses. Oh, he raped a girl, he did this. Those are things that do not really matter. You see, because he wants to destroy the guy, he wants to change constitution, he wants to do everything. Something that if people did not fight to place him there, he wouldn't have gotten to that level.
No, the crime that was finally sent Sonko to prison was that he bribed youths.
Yes, of course.
Because the allegation of rape was not founded.
Yes, you see, he was bringing this issue. The girl herself, she has gone back to court. I don't know why you know that. Yes. Yesterday she was going back to court because she wants to appeal the case so that he should be found guilty of rape charges. Yes, she went to court. Was it on Friday? She went back to court just to tell you that these political maneuvers are devilish. We saw in the case of Chad, as somebody just my brother Niba just said. In the case of Chad, they had recently a new constitution with Deby that stipulated that the vice president becomes president in case of in case of death or disability of the president. Yes. But you know what happened when Idris Deby died? The government may just start saying that the vice president said he is not willing, he is not strong enough, he's tired, he's sick, and all those sort of things. And where was he? In France. You see, and Mr. Biya was the first person who ever endorsed, because France had called him to say, okay, first of all, do it as the oldest man. He did that before France reacted. But the same thing that is being happened, in fact, the same things happen in other countries, like my brother said, like Burkina Faso. They want to kill people. But the truth is that look at countries that develop in the world. People you come for your term. If you're efficient enough, they give you a second mandate. If you are if the mandate's over, you go. Even if you are Jesus Christ, of course, you leave. And others, as I'm coming, I try to solve the mistakes you make. Probably I'll do something and I'll do my own thing and I'll create my own mistakes. Others will come and solve. That's how efficiency works. You don't come and sit for a place like 40 years. Sometimes when I look at the presidency in Cameroon, sometimes I really imagine. Sometimes I see.
But Cameroon has not entered.
I see. No, see, it has. We have got to that level. We have got to that level, and that's why I always.
So you cannot cite the Cameroon example.
We can cite the Cameroon example. ABEL.
Despite the fact that
ABEL. What lessons can we learn?
I don't appreciate all his point of views. Right? I will always respect Honorable Aya Abine for what he did in 2008. I think so.
And he was considered persona non grata in the CPDM party.
I will never forget what he said, what he did.
That was when his trouble started.
Yes, and they have replaced him by Anja, Honorable Anja, who is a senator today. So in his constituency in Manu, he's no more. They tried something and place. So what I'm trying to say is this: that democracy, yes, we want democracy, but not what we are seeing today. That people just play their games, and the only thing they're doing that. Sometimes I ask myself, what happens? What do they really? What actually pushes them to do that? And come to the solution, to the resolution that it is an issue of arms. They are the one having the arms. If everybody was if everybody had the permission to be going up with arms, you see, they will not be doing those things. Because when you want to, they come out with their guns. When Sanko was
when the people were demonstrating, we saw the police.
When he was pronounced guilty of some of those various allegations that were levied against him, you see that guys, young guys, that's why he cannot go to prison. People are there that are ready to die for him. That young Sanko.
Are they following the Nigerian example cited by?
Yeah, and you see that you come to realize you come to realize that the government is not afraid to put him to prison. The government is afraid because the Minister of Justice said
those were the same people who defended Macky Sall.
Of course.
Against
where he is today.
I think it was Abdoulaye
Wade.
What wanted to do that when Macky Sall stood up and said respect the constitution, the people stood with him.
Well, of course.
And he became president.
And
now he's killing the same people who defended his point of view, and he's now enjoying as president.
Yes. Wade was preparing his son to take over from him. Everyone knows that, right? But he never saw Macky Sall coming. The truth of the whole thing is that people in power, people who are ruling their various countries,
out of the
they should bear in mind.
Speak to
the
mic. Our listener gets you very well.
They should bear in mind that you might climb, and you climb at the same time you get yourself at the floor. You don't understand how it came. So Macky Sall, who became a hero, can out of a sudden become a zero. So we are just calling upon him, and not only him. We should not be talking about our neighbors so much. We should also talk about our own country, because somebody has been ruling this country for over 40 years, and sometimes when I pass through the presence, I have the impression that it's somebody's house.
Okay.
Because you cannot be growing every day, getting the same name, and sometimes people present his son as somebody.
No, but we don't.
It will never pass.
We don't have that.
I'll just take that will never pass.
No, we had it before, and we never experimented it. That was the constitutional coup d'etat. We never even tried it. But I want to say that maybe Cameroon was foresighted to see that it is not in their gene to respect such a thing. That is why they even remove it before they reach there.
Okay. Now, Jones, I want to find out something from you. Do we Africa really know the meaning of the words democracy, which means government for the people, by the people, to the people, meaning that the people, in another way around, are the decision makers. We have seen the people of Senegal resisting. Do our politicians really understand some of these texts before they engage into constitutional coup d'etat?
Thank you very much for that very question. I've been pondering since you sent me this topic. I was trying to understand the meaning of democracy and politics. You know, these are two words that seems to be like family members, but they never go together. They seems to look like, you know, when I was talking one time, one man told me that the goal of every party is to gain power and stay in power for as long as you can. And that is called politics, which means the ability to change, to transform something that will cause the people to allow you do what you want to do. You see? So the question is, do our people, Africans, understand the real meaning of democracy? Abel, I wanted to ask you something. Just a general question. These countries you've mentioned, what is very common with these countries? Language and word French. That means almost all French countries in Africa are suffering from this disease. All these countries that were colonized by France, or who opened their doors for France to come in and start causing the chaos that they are facing today. Because we look at countries that were colonized by Britain. Look like my brother.
We have seen Uganda,
yes,
British colony, changing the constitution.
But what an exception?
That's an exception.
Is it an issue of the colonial master?
Yes,
is it an issue of the colonial
master? We saw Mugabe.
We saw Mugabe.
A coup d'etat in Zimbabwe.
Those are exceptions. Look at modern democracy now.
Why can't I say in Botswana? In South Africa.
Yes, let's look at modern
Tanzania.
What happened in South Africa? The people of Zuma sent him out of power. His own party people.
Not only Zuma. Thabo Mbeki was sent out by his own party.
Own party people.
Of course.
So let's look at modern democracy in Africa, especially when it comes to those things. You see those countries developing and they're going. But we have a problem with these francophone countries. I don't know what it is. Is it still the independence accords that were signed? You know, because we say we're still living in those accords that were signed before independent. Those things, that is what is killing us. Now the next thing is
to maintain the country. There is no gunshot.
If you change the
constitution, this will give him an opportunity.
There's no gunshot. Central African Republic has not been in peace for the past till date.
But he has been able to maintain since he came to power. We have seen him did a lot of reforms, signing a diplomatic distance.
Where have they kept
with Russia? The country is gradually getting its economic progress, and he needs time to be able to complete some of these missions.
He doesn't need time. He doesn't need time. Everybody should make errors. You know, there's a common saying that if your child keeps sending the hand into the fire, allow the child to put it. He will hurt and he will leave. You know, when you go and make your own mistakes, you will leave. Another person.
Is the presidency a place where people do make mistakes?
Everybody, we're not perfect.
Perfection.
No, we're not perfect.
Why did Chad call away the ambassador?
Yes,
we never made a mistake.
We are not perfect, Abel. We have advisors. Your advisors at times can lead you to the wrong side. And when you make your errors, you can just simply leave. You look at Buhari. Look at his final speech. Say he's flying back to his state, his cows and goats.
Yeah.
And he's even going to reduce them because you no longer have money to buy feed for them. When you have reached your turn, mama, leave and let people respect you. But no, France will not allow it. Permit me.
Why are you accusing France? Is France the African man? Is France the one?
I will say it if I have the opportunity.
Is France the one voting for the parliamentarians to change the constitution? Is France the people of Africa?
When Macron came,
why can't you look at African mentality?
When Macron came to Nigeria, they asked him a question. They say they are partners to Africa. What level of partnership?
Jet partnership.
What level of partnership where you see people dying, suffering, economy hardship, a lot of evil going on in the economy, then you sit and say you are a partner. No, it doesn't happen like that.
Okay.
A partner as you are, you should be able to create and maintain peace.
Even occultists have partners.
John Niba, I'm the one asking questions.
It is unheard of. It is unheard of. Britain has removed their hands from almost all of their countries. The moment Chad, the president of Chad, died, what happened? Who was the first president to land there? Why? Because he has a military base? No. And look at the security that he had. It was his own security.
He went there just to secure French interests.
Good. Is that what is supposed to be done?
Yes.
Is Chad not a sovereign state? Does Chad need France to take decisions? Does Cameroon? No. It is unheard of. We're seeing the hands of France in everything happening in Africa.
No.
And I enjoy at a certain time when Nigerians themselves stood up and said it's time for France to leave.
Okay.
Even though they have businesses in Nigeria, but they are telling France that you cannot even give a proposal to us in Nigeria.
Okay.
I think it's time for Cameroonians to see that. Cameroonians, I talk about Cameroon, I'm not talking of the southern Cameroons or the French Cameroon. I say it's time for us to see that this country is a sovereign state, an independent state, and we need to look at what is good for us as Cameroonians and make the decisions. People should not go and sit in the National Assembly and take wrong decisions because they want to, increase their family wealth. That is part of the parliamentary code, which we all know. You are not supposed to be a parliamentarian and you are taking contracts. No, but it's everywhere in Cameroon. That's to tell you that it's not only about these countries you are calling here, Abel. Even in Cameroon, it's happening. And whether we like it or not, it will not happen in Cameroon. We will stand for our rights. We will stand to challenge, and we will stand to say, let the will of the people be done.
I will get this message from Guy Estella. I say bravo to you from our Facebook page. Let me welcome Agbo Masha. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Abel. Good afternoon to your rich panel, and good afternoon to our dear listeners. Good afternoon to Reverend Pastor Noel Emmanuel Bisai.
Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel. Yes, that is the order.
Okay, thank you.
On his behalf, I receive it.
Always remind me of those orders.
Yes, but you met us in the dining table. We are talking about constitutional coup d'etats in Africa. It seems as if we started in those days because we are now moving on the third phase of constitutions in Africa. When I talk about the third phase, we have the pre-colonial, we have the colonial period, we have the post-colonial, and today we are talking about the democratic era of the African continent. But it seems as if we have changed individuals, but we have not changed systems. And that is why you see somebody like Macky Sall, who was supported by the people. He formed the first African coalition that had to move a sitting president on seat. And it became like a model for other oppositions in Africa to follow suit. But today he has entered into the system and wants to change the same system he was combating. What is happening with African democracy? Is it a democracy that can guarantee the peace and stability of the continent, the socio-political, economic well-being of the people?
Abel, that question is very complex.
And that's why I asked you, because I know you are a political scientist.
I will begin by saying that democracy in Africa is mostly apparent. Mostly apparent, but not genuine in most of sub-Saharan African countries. Now, why do I say so?
Mostly apparent.
Exactly.
But it's not genuine.
That which is apparent looks like a reality, but which is not. That's something which is being masked. Okay? And decisions are being taken hiddenly. Meanwhile, the people feel that they are participants in one way or the other, whereas they don't even decide anything. Now, Abel, you mentioned something, coup d'etats. You see, Africa comes in as the first continent in the world to have experienced more coup d'etats than any other continent. Second by Asia. Latin America. Why do I talk of Africa? You see, from 1960, when about 17 countries got their independence, the first West African country, which was Togo, got into what? A military takeover. That was in 1963, January 25th, 1963, when President Sylvanus Olympio was removed from power. Okay? And he was removed by who? A French backed up colonel known as Nasingbe Eyadema. Okay? Now, when you live there, you go to Nigeria in 1965, you will find out that the Igbos and the Muslims were in regular conflicts because of what? Regional imbalance. And in 1966, what happened is the very first government of Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was toppled by General Ironsi. But when you look at most of these coups, you find the hands of who? The French people, the French government. In 1966, July, General Yakubu Gowon came to power and toppled Ironsi, and a lot of bloodshed followed. So we can go on citing, but 85% of those coup d'etats you will find in the hands of what? The French government. And when I talk of the French government, I'm referring to the father of the CFA franc, the father of the continuous imperialism, who was no other person than General Charles de Gaulle, and his right-hand man, Jacques Foccart, who was Secretary General at the Élysée for African and Malagasy, is it problems or questions or something like that? There was a cell created where Cellule à l'Élysée, des Affaires Africaines et Malgaches. So, Abel, another funny thing is, most of the constitutional changes we have today are following imperialistic orientations. That is, they suit the interests of the imperial powers governing, whether we like it or not. Out of 100 in Africa, if we are to look at percentages, maybe 2 will suit for Africa. And the problem is mostly based with francophone countries. Why? Because history tells us that when the French came to Africa, they applied what was known as the direct rule.
But we have also
The
seen
direct
English countries also changing the constitution at will.
The image is not the same. There are a lot of exceptions. Why? Because the British man came in with the indirect rule, and the indirect rule gave some relative autonomy for the natives and the chiefs to administer their own people under British supervision. But the direct rule system gave France what? The overall power to directly control the people. And the funniest thing is, before 1960, when the majority of the French African colonies were asked to be decolonized and get their independence by the UN, what did France do? They had to come up with what we call the French community. Mm-hmm. And in that French community, one of the clauses or one of the elements that was required for those nations to get their independence was what? The continuous paying of what? The colonial debt. The colonial debt, do you know how much it is? 65% of the revenues of all her former colonies, and an extra 20%, which means a total of 85% going to the French National Bank. Now the 15% we are left with it. The question I ask ourselves, what are we going to do with it, and for how long?
That is why we are having these things in Africa.
And then now, when we have a problem, they get into that account of 85% to borrow us or to lend us money with a double rate of interest. So that is why when we talk of poverty flourishing, when we talk of this, it's no surprise. Why? Because the system is the problem, and the system is imperialistic.
And it's a system that
a regime will never be a problem.
It's causing Macky Sall to behave like this.
Exactly.
It's a system that is causing the president of Central African Republic to go in for referendum.
It's all about the system. It's all about the system. We should not choose words. It is all about what? The system. You rightly said Macky Sall in the first place came in as how do I call it? A democratic. He was praised as a democratic figure. But along the line, one funny thing with politics is a Frenchman say l'appétit vient en mangeant.
Okay.
L'appétit vient en mangeant.
Appetite comes.
The more you eat, the more you exactly. So I don't know if along the line
something happened
during the second mandate. He got.
Yes.
He got.
Okay. John Liba, yes. What is the impact of this constitutional coup d'etat?
Thank you.
Having in our people.
The impact is one. Abject poverty and misery in African countries.
Okay.
Yes. Secondly, we have the impact again is conflicts and killing of innocent people who are caught in between these constitutional coup d'etats. Mm-hmm. Because they try to use the same constitution to tell them that you will have the freedom of expression, you have the freedom of manifestations. And when a coup d'etat of that nature is being perpetrated and the people want now to go and say, okay, the constitution gives us this, you see what happens. Many of them are killed and all that. Mm-hmm. You see the misery in which African countries live is because of these people who continue to think that they are super people, that without them no country can cope. Some people even come out, their praise singers come out and say that is the only person who can rule this country. There's no other person, and they try to put it in people's heads. Those people are talking, they call themselves doctors, professors, and all that, and they come and say that is the only person who can rule this country. You see, he killed when it happens like that, merit is killed. People try to do things in a corrupt way.
Okay.
And then very few people grab the remaining 20% Marshall was talking about. And you see that the little world that is left in the hands of very few people who remain in power. Mm-hmm. And they continue to position their own, some family members and friends. Mm-hmm. And finally, you also have the last impact is that there is this idea of cultism coming in, where people will have to group somewhere in such a way that you cannot challenge me. Mm-hmm. Ask yourself, there are some presidents who have kept some big influential people under them. How do they do that if it is not in dark room somewhere where there is hierarchy that cannot be pushed? Because if I bring you in, and they keep on telling you, if you want to be this, you must belong to this particular secret society for their own security. Because if we know that we meet somewhere after, I will not challenge ABEL who brought me in. And those who pay the price, you know, the man in the street, the man for whom we are here today crying.
Yeah.
But I want to tell them one thing before I go out, ABEL.
Yes, if you can just try again, that's 6711573821, 658089125, 620377481. We miss out.
Let me land by saying that the time African presidents will understand, young presidents like Touadera Akansh from Central African Republic, Macky Sall, they are still young. They can leave power and still come back. We have seen presidents leave power and come back.
Like what Trump is trying to do.
What makes them to think that they can leave power and they will not come back? Trump is coming. Trump can come back. Sarkozy wanted to come back. Other people wanted to come back. You can leave power if you actually work well. You will still join your political party and you will come back. So please, don't think that they are the best in Africa. Other people are idiots.
Now, I want to find out from you, Wumi, but before then, you know, we have some gentlemen who are also following us live, and their contribution is also good. We give them an opportunity for them to also express themselves, because I have one guy, Nathan Gwa, who just wrote to us. I'm coming back to the message. But looking at the impact they have cited, he talked about the system. And this system has, he talked about conflicts, he talked about some of it. And this system has tightened the political situation in the sense that elections, which is supposed to be a place where people express their mind willfully, has become a jotter in the African continent. Election does no longer play the role it is supposed to play. What should Africans do at this point in time to make sure that we have stronger institutions, not strong people?
Of course, you see why in our elections in Africa, especially in Cameroon, people don't actually, people, it's not like something that really pull people, you see. Because you see, many people tell you that after all, we know the outcome. You see, so many Cameroonians, many Africans, they have that. That's why you see that their electoral organ may have maybe, let me just say 20 million people registered, but you see the level of people who are effectively going to vote, it will be just too low as 5 million. You see, so just to tell you that is also one of the impact, because people lose faith in electoral process when you want to maintain yourself with a lot of power. And apart from that, there's a lot of corruption and embezzlement in these countries. Why? Because those who led you up, you must allow them to do what they want to free themselves, because you are being hurt by that. Because yourself, you know that you were not supposed to be there if they were not with you. You see? So that is why in these countries there are a lot of corruption, a lot of embezzlement taking place. You see? And not only that, when you stay in power for so long, your people from the ethnic group from which you come from believe that it is their divine right that the head of state should come from their place. Okay, it's their divine right. You see that in this country, you see from the north are saying that after Bia the power should go back to us, because Ayo rule for 24 years. You see, they want to say okay, after Bia the power should go to us. The people from the south, they are saying that no, after Bia it should be from Bia. Then those of us who are at the margin, what do we say? That it is their divine right to cling onto power. So that is it. That's what, when you rule for quite a long time, it brings your ethnic people, even if they are poor, even if they are in abject poverty, for the fact that they see you as somebody, they
like a demigod.
No, they see you like somebody come from their ethnic group. They believe that it is a divine call. It is God that has made you, and that there's no other person that can come from some other ethnic group. And that's why this issue of hate speech now comes. You see, that's why this issue of hate speech comes. Each time somebody from a different tribe wants to come up, shoot up. Of course, in 1990, even the French were using this hate speech. Vraiment, c'est un Anglo-Bami. They were referring to John Fundy. That's what that was the title. That was, in fact, they said, Let me just tell you, a French. I've just forgotten. Is this Kamdesu? He went for IMF. He said, "This is what he said. Is what he said in RFI and other meeting. No, ce n'est que des petits groupes Afro-Anglo, Bamiki, sont fâchés. Il n'y a rien au Cameroun." That's what he said in the 1990s when they ripped John Fundy of his victory. That's the word he used, Kamdesu. That ce n'est qu'un petit groupe des Anglo-Bami. Qui se manœuvre, c'est des minorités. You understand? Just to tell people, and when people hear this, they have the impression that it is true. If the power is not in the south, it should go back to the north.
No, we got you. Jones.
So it intensifies hate speech.
Constitutional coup is a threat to democracy. When you look at Cameroon today, is there a possibility for us to ever think of a constitutional coup? Is it possible for us to have it? If not today, tomorrow?
It is very possible. Very possible. And
where somebody can just hijack the constitution.
Yes. When you look at some of these guys who were fighting this in Africa, you realize that most of them are people who've been in power for long. And like my brother Mawumi said here, that when you are in power for long, you have that you will think that is your institution and it should remain your institution. I fear to think that we are going to have a constitutional coup in this country. And if not then or after, because before the election of the Senate, there was a lot of rumor in the air. And that is when I knew that Cameroonians are alert, because it was everywhere. Everybody was talking. People were hitting hard on media platforms everywhere. And what we thought that would come did not come. So I don't think that I will not say Cameroonians were just trying to say things that were not right. It is because there's a saying that where there's a smoke, there's a fire. And
how can we protect our constitution from not being coup d'etat?
How can we protect our constitution is by revising that constitution. The constitution of Cameroon we have now. You know, when I see most politicians going around and they're crying, electoral code is the problem of this country. No. The problem of this country is the constitution. The constitution of this country gives one person too much power to slice the cake anyhow he wants.
But that is what they are doing in Africa.
Yes, so I want to say that for us to be sure that we don't have that issue here, we need to revisit. I'm calling on the Constitutional Council that was created by the head of state. Please, for the sake of Cameroonians,
yes,
you people should revisit the constitution of this country. Okay. Listen to what the people want and try to adjust it, because we want clauses like 7 years forever removed.
Okay.
We want
appointment of 30 senators out of 100
removed. There are things that if we don't remove from this constitution, even if I am the president of this country today, ABEL, we will still do the same thing that Biapo is doing today.
Okay. See, let me say, what you just said, 1 minute, please, 1 second.
Yeah, 1 second.
The issue of
we're moving out of time.
30 senators. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Okay.
It is not a bad idea.
Because we had at least one out of the 30.
Let me say it. No, it's not a bad idea. Right? In a country where we have different ethnic groups, you see, it's a good idea. Yes. That is at least to solve certain frustration in some ethnic
like the SAF that was frustrated this time around. They had one.
I'm saying this.
Let's just
listen. It's not a matter of trying to point finger at me. I've been saying that. It's not today I've been saying that. I'm saying that the idea of saying that the head of state should appoint 30. I think the idea per se is a good idea.
Okay.
Even if we're in a good democracy, in the best democracy, it would still be good, because you know that there are some ethnic groups. Let me give an example. Yes. Look at the country look at the region like the West region.
Yes.
People have the impression the West region is an issue of Bamun and Bamileke. No. They are both in the West region.
Yeah.
There are Tika in the West region.
Yeah.
You see. So if a political party wins election in the West, most often either you see the list will be Bamileke, most of the Bamileke, or most Bamun. But you see the Tika will be left out. Whereas in the region, they're also brought there. I
don't buy that philosophy, Mr.
Let's come back.
It's a good thing.
No, yes, thank you. I don't, because even if that's the ideology, it's not practical. It's not practical.
Thank you. Those appointed, do they reflect what you are saying?
Look at Nigeria. Nigeria has how many ethnic groups?
Can we come back?
Nigeria has how many ethnic groups? Do they appoint senators in Nigeria?
Can we come back? Can we come back? Gentlemen, let's come back. Let's come back. Let's come back, gentlemen. Let's come back. That would be for another day. That would be for another day. Let's
be bad.
No,
let's take the caller online. Let's take this caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Lila from SOS.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the constitutional coup d'etat of which people are saying. Central Africa is an exceptional case.
Okay.
You have Central Africa and Mali. You know, France, most of the coup d'etat that have been happening in Central Africa is because of the French government. They say Central Africa is part of France. And you see a man like the actual president who is there, he's separated from, he's trying to separate from the French and treat with the Russians. And since he has been with the Russians, you say for 5 years, we have never heard a sound of gun.
Yeah.
So that's why he's trying to give out of this French government. Because people from France are very dangerous people.
And that's why he needs to change the constitution to stay there. In his team, there's nobody else that can maintain that same diplomatic relationship.
No, they want their different person to maintain it. The ancient president who left away, you call him what?
Is he working alone? Is he working alone?
No, he's not the only one. But the thing is that he wants to give out of the French government. You know, they have already changed their money to Bitcoin, or you call it what? So
they have not yet changed.
They are using
they are still safer.
Yes, he doesn't want the French people to treat with them. In the war, in 2018, when there was trouble there, the French people left Central Africa going with all their weapons to Mali. They abandoned, meanwhile there was heavy problem in Central Africa. They abandoned them with all what Central Africa was suffering of. They went to Mali, knowing that they are going to exploit most of the mineral as they were exploiting it in Central Africa. You know, most of the soldiers who came to Central Africa they were out to search for men and all the minerals. So they went to Mali and it was one and the same thing. When Mali discovered that this is their mission, they decided that they refused the Mali military from going to some of the parts they were controlling.
We got your opinion.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Let's take this other caller online. Hello. Hello?
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Taximan Belong.
Taximan?
Belong.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon to the panel also.
Thank you so very much on their behalf.
So there's a big problem is that all the country that the French colony have governed, they always put a policy to put one man that can only manipulate and all our resources are deposited in France. Look all over where the French people pass. Everything is very difficult. The constitution will always stay and be stagnant.
Is the French people the parliamentarians and the constitutional councils in Africa? Can the Africans don't stand up and also no, we don't need this? Must they always abide to what they are telling them to do?
They obviously always say because they give us the ability, like we have power, you will stay on power, these are the advantages you have in power, but they don't match, they don't care if the people are suffering or they are dying, or they want it just to save their colonial master and then they should stay to power as long as possible. Look at what Macky Sall is doing there at Senegal.
Okay.
Everybody knew it was an example, but now we are just disappointed all the way around.
Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Yes. We are rounding up.
Yes, you asked the question,
one
how
minute.
can this constitutional coup d'etat be, how can we protect them, right, or prevent them?
Yes.
And he already answered that by retouching the constitution, but I want to say very fast here.
Yes, rapidly,
because greatest way to protect that is for Cameroonians to register massively and change the constitution. I mean, how can I say it? The people who are in the National Assembly and in the upper house, because if the opposition they have more representative than the ruling party, most of these things will not pass. The constitutional coup d'etat will not pass. When Paul Abine stood up in those days, he was alone. If the opposition was there behind him, we wouldn't have had that.
Okay.
So people should register and vote. Even if you don't want to vote for the presidential election, go in for the legislative election. Very important, because those people make the laws that affect all of us.
Okay.
The opposition was with Abine.
Yes, sir.
But there were how many?
I don't really think the ballot box in this country can change it and change this country. Not for now.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so very much for being here. Joining me in the studio is Jean-Marie Anaba. Good afternoon to you, frère.
Good afternoon, ABEL Samari. Good afternoon to your guests and our listeners.
Le pays est debout.
I think all is going well.
On peut sortir au match.
No problem.
On est tranquille. Nous n'avons pas
no
constitution. There's no constitutional coup d'État in Cameroon. Everything is fine. So what are we going to be discussing about metropolitan?
Deux sujets en débat. La présidentielle 2025. Beaucoup estiment qu'il faut un président jeune. Il viendra de quelle formation politique? Cette question est encore posée. Maintenant, on va se demander si le rajeunissement de la classe politique est nécessaire pour cette élection. Vous savez qu'au MRC, il y a un débat sur l'âge du professeur Maurice Kamto en ce moment. John Frunzio, SDF, a décidé de lâcher, de donner à la nouvelle génération. Est-ce qu'il faut rajeunir la classe politique avant 2025? C'est la question du jour. Mais on parlera aussi d'entrée de jeu, des enjeux, du contexte et des attentes de la classe politique vis-à-vis de la session parlementaire du jour.
Listeners, don't move a muzzle because up next is Barometer Politique with Jean-Marie Anaba. Stay blessed in the company of Royal 88.4 FM. If you missed this program, just join us at 1 a.m. today for a rebroadcast.